breakdown and predictions video. We got Dana White Contender Series Week 9, and we're coming off a really good week last week where we made good money on the Patreon, made good money on bets, had some really good prop bets that we gave you guys on the UFC card. We went, I believe, 11 out of 14 on that card, and then we won on the Contender Series as well. So looking to keep that momentum going into this week. And first fight of the night here, Rafael Pergentino taking on Luke Fernandez. This is one of these meme fights. I mean, Pergentino, obscure Brazilian, only been a pro since 2023, and he trains out of a gym I've never heard of. 5-0. All of his fights have been at heavyweight, so first time he came down to 205. He has been dominant so far in his career. He has 5 finishes, 4 in the first round. His last fight where he won the Nota de Guerra heavyweight title, it was the first time he went past the first round, and he finished early in the second, but huge step up for him in terms of competition level. And Luke Fernandez, he's 30. He's a Dante Rivera jiu-jitsu guy, so if you know about that gym, you know that's a very good gym in New Jersey. And he's 5-0. He's one of the biggest prospects in the Northeast region. He is a CFFC mainstay, 10 fights, and all of them have been in the CFFC. He fought his first amateur fight in 2020, won the CFFC amateur title later on in his career, went pro in 2023, and then had 2 first-round stoppages before immediately going into a title fight at 3-0. He fought a 4-2 fighter, so the opponent had, or at 2-0, excuse me, and the opponent had triple the experience, but Fernandez got the job done. He claimed the belt, defended it twice against pretty good fighters. His last fight, he beat Christian Edwards, who's a Bellator champ, and he's been a fixture on the UFC Fight Pass Jiu-Jitsu scene as well. He competed versus Eric Anders and beat him on a Fury Pro Grappling card. Then he fought Phil Hawes, submitted him in a CFFC BJJ 14 card. So his grappling is definitely UFC level, and he's been fighting at the light heavyweight division. So his opponent may be used to facing heavier fighters, but Fernandez brings that small fighter skill. And Pergento's, I mean, his career has been pretty hilarious so far. He's been fighting in knockoff promotions, which seem like it's ran by the same people who own where he fights at, his gym. They have some really strange venues, super small cages, rings. The one fight where he was like in a really odd gym ring with a ref that had sandals on, looking like he was just chilling at the beach. That's like the main thing that people are talking about right now. But I want to know what you guys think about the midget ring girl. I mean, you guys hit it was funny. I mean, fuck that. They had a small ring, midget ring girl, and 2 big heavyweights. So it just seemed like a bit of a joke. But Pergentino, you know, extremely low level fighters that he's been going against, and he's been getting ugly scraps with them too. On the feet, he really just brawls, pretty non-existent defense, super sloppy, arm punches. He throws volume and he will sit in the pocket, but his kicks are hilarious. I mean, he was literally holding onto the ropes and he was throwing kicks because he was scared of falling over. And, you know, he's just, his grappling is what looks dangerous. He will jump on the back. He floats on top well. Doesn't really have the wrestling to get it to the ground, and he does lose position sometimes even in the grappling, but he is a black belt. You could tell when he gets a dominant position, he wants to quickly try to finish and get really aggressive, and it can be effective against lower level guys. He gets the back, he can get rear naked chokes. He looks strong and athletic. Like, he has some potential, but just super unpolished. I don't think he's ready for this moment at all. His last fight, he went out, he got a takedown, big slam, looked impressive for about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And when he couldn't hold his opponent down, he was just totally gassed. Ended up winning the fight off of heart alone. He was sitting in the pocket getting hammered with punches for most of the first round, but he absorbed it. And then in round 2, he got taken down, but hit a half guard sweep, got into mount, got the back, got the choke. So you could say he's a tough guy, but just nothing really to talk about in terms of skill level. And Fernandez, boxer, wrestler, pretty solid everywhere. Isn't crazy athletic, but he moves well, decent hand speed, kind of a smaller Sleater, light heavyweight, and good jab, good hooks, overhands. Definitely has big power. You've seen him knock guys out with one punch. And off the clinch breaks, Hernandez is good at kind of using his power to put you in the clinch, land off the clinch breaks, and that's where he's gotten a lot of his big shots off. I don't think he will wrestle in this matchup. Hopefully he does keep it standing, but probably the better grappler too. Definitely the better wrestler. I have seen him lose position in fights. There's kind of no reason for him to let Progento get the mount or the back or have something stupid happen potentially. Keep it standing, and Fernandez should find this knockout in the first round. He has better boxing, and his opponent looked extremely weak on the feet. If Fernandez can defend a takedown or two, I think that Progento will gas. He should be able to tee off on him, get him out of there. Fernandez is kind of small for 205. I think in the UFC, maybe you should think about dropping to middleweight, but this fight, I don't think it's going to matter. I think he's going to blitz Progento, get him out of there in the first. So next fight, Donovan Hedrick. He's taking on Luis Felipe Diaz. Really intense face-off between these two guys at the weigh-ins, but Hedrick, he's coming in on short notice, but he has to be confident. He's never had a hard fight. American top team fighter. He's 6-0 as a pro, 5-0 as an amateur. All of his pro fights and all but one of his amateur fights were in Combat Night promotion, which is a small promotion in Florida. So had a lot of squash matches. This is definitely the best opponent that he's faced to date. 28 years old. He's gotten enough tune-ups in, and it's time to sink or swim for him, and that's what Tuesday night signifies. For Felipe Diaz, he must have had the ear of Dana White, Mick Maynard, or someone high in the UFC, because they've really worked hard to make sure he was on this season of Contender Series. He has not fought since July of 2023, but for whatever reason, he got slated on the show originally to fight September 30th. That fight got scrapped, and then he had another opponent to fight October 7th, and his first opponent couldn't make it to the fight, so now they're settling on Hedrick here. Diaz, 30, so the time is of the essence for him if he wants to get in the UFC. Hopefully the layoff won't affect him and he can perform well, but resume-wise, he has some pretty good wins. He's a former Shooto Brazil champion. His last few fights, he didn't really fight good opposition, though. His last fight, he got a 40-second finish over a 2-0 fighter when he was 14-5. And prior to that, he had a 28-second win over an opponent that Tapology flagged and doesn't count as a pro fight due to it being a severe mismatch. But when he had his two fights in Brave CF, which were the hardest fights of his career, he lost both. So I think maybe he just wanted to kind of get his mojo back, and he did with those two quick finishes. And now he's getting another really big opportunity to potentially fight on a grand stage. And he could maybe do better than he did when he went to Brave, but he hasn't fought anyone good since 2022, so we'll see exactly how he looks. But Donovan Hedrick, first-round machine so far in his MMA career. He's never been out of round one in 11 wins. Longest fight has been 2 minutes and 48 seconds, and extremely powerful on the feet. He's been fighting a lot of bums, so it will be maybe different fighting an opponent who's not just going to fall down off one or two hard shots, but Hedrick has clean pull counters, great accuracy, good timing, stands very bladed. He has a karate style, so he throws a lot of lead leg kicks and then blitzes in with jabs, lead hooks, rear crosses, overhands, normally throwing one or two at a time and then getting out of the range. And he isn't really a combination guy, but he's been able to sleep people so early that it's hard to know his full striking arsenal. I've seen Hedrick blitz in, land a punch, use that to hit takedowns too. And he's aggressive. In top position, he has some ground and pound. Grappling looks a little sloppy, but trains out of Fusion XL. You know that they're going to continue to improve that. And he's hit some rear naked chokes, guillotines. He has some submission threats. He looks really athletic, powerful, aggressive submission game. His opponents have all not been good, though, so ultimately it's hard to say how he'll do if he faces adversity, if he gets extended. He's also taking this fight on really short notice, so who knows what kind of shape he's in. And this is also his first fight since June of 2024. So I think he's not super trustworthy in this spot. But Luis Felipe Diaz, Muay Thai striker, flat-footed, plodding. He's fast. He'll throw long and straight shots. He hits hard. He wants to slowly but surely kind of head you off, back you to the fence, and from there he'll unload. Very heavy on his lead leg. And in the center, I'm not a huge fan of his striking because he just slowly walks in a range, eats leg kicks. He'll try to lean back and use his speed and length to land punches on you. But if you back him to the fence, then he's going to be extremely vulnerable. And in this fight, he's going to be at a reach disadvantage, which I think is not good for his style. But he's tough. He was put out badly by a guy named Luis Caldo, but a lot of his fights he takes damage and then comes back. And he's been in there with better fighters, and we've seen some deficiencies in the grappling from him. Like he faced Marcin Bandel, who's a really high-level wrestler, grappler from the European scene, and got controlled in every round of that fight. And he did come out hard in round 2, and he wasn't discouraged, but by the 3rd round, he looked really tired. He was less explosive. And when Bandel actually put Diaz on his back, Diaz was just flat on bottom. He didn't really have much of a get-up game. Trains out of a Muay Thai gym, so I don't know how good his jiu-jitsu is. And I've seen him get takedowns against the fence versus non-wrestlers, but he really had to put a lot of effort into the takedowns, and they were really sloppy. Didn't really look that good on top. He has some okay wins, but none in about 5 years, and I wasn't super impressed with his performances in Brave. So this is a hard fight to be confident on either fighter in, just because Hedrick has been fighting a pack of bums, coming off a layoff, short notice, never been out of the first. But Diaz just doesn't look good to me, and I think Hedrick can knock him out or out-wrestle him. If Diaz survives, maybe he could change the tide of the fight, but hopefully Hedrick is able to get Diaz out of there or damage him so they're both compromised if Hedrick slows down and he has to go later. But leg kicks and blitz attacks for Hedrick are the way to go, and I think if he can get the takedown, a submission early could be a path. Diaz just has to be a dog. He has to try to extend the fight, force exchanges, hurt Hedrick, put him in positions he's never been in. Diaz has never been finished in the first round, so Hedrick never being past the first, Diaz never being finished in the first, that is something that has to give there. I'm going to go with Hedrick. I'll say he gets it in round 2 this time. I believe he can get on the leg, make Diaz stationary, line him up, and put him out. So give me Donovan Hedrick here, 2nd round knockout. And I think he has to dig deeper than normal for his win here, but he gets it done. Next fight on the card, Imanol Rodriguez versus Roque Consejo Jr. Roque Jr. Consejo, I'm not sure which one, but Rodriguez, fresh off the Ultimate Fighter. He just fought on season 33. He won a fight, first round knockout in the first round, and then he lost a split decision in the semifinals to Joseph Morales, who ended up winning the show. And Morales easily blitzed through Alibi Idris on a UFC card as an underdog, so that was an impressive performance, even in a loss by Rodriguez, because most people believed he won that fight. But the UFC has given him this shot without even making him take another fight, so they like him. He is backed by DC, and if he delivers a good performance, he's probably getting a contract. He's a Mexican fighter. He's 5-0, and he stayed with DC's fight team, so he's training at AKA. He's getting his boxing in with Rosendo Sanchez, has a lot of beast wrestlers, and he also has the UFC PI and the UFC PI Mexico where he's working as well. So you'll see him working with Dom Cruz, Brandon Moreno, and definitely working with some high-level guys. But hopefully he's leveled up since the last fight, and he looks even better here. But Roque, 25 years old, he's Brazilian. This is going to be the first fight that he's had out of Brazil, but he has double the amount of fights that Rodriguez has. So 10-2, he's experienced, finished 9 of the 10 fights. As far as his level of competition goes, it's kind of hard to know. Fighting Brazilians with padded records, and he's been fighting in promotions no one's really ever heard of for the most part. He had one fight for a Jungle Fight, and he lost to UFC veteran Dennis Araujo in 2023, but that was a really controversial decision. And he fought for Thunder Fight, which is a semi-big promotion in Brazil, and he went 1-1 there. So when he stepped up and fought in bigger Brazilian promotions, he hasn't been a sure thing. And he's never fought for Shudo or LFA or any of those other notable promotions. Demo Fight he fought in, but he's currently the Ragnarok and Demo Fight flyweight champion. First fight in the United States, and his first time fighting in front of big names like Dana White or notable UFC fighters, whereas Imanol Rodriguez might not have as many pro fights, but he has experience in terms of having fought at the PI, being around a lot of UFC fighters, And sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see if Junior is ready for the moment. But Roki Jr., he has plus skills across the board. He's an athletic fighter. He's big for the weight. He's a pressure fighter. He likes to counter. Comes forward behind a lot of feints and looks to slide in and out of range. Good job throwing combinations with the hands when he has fighters backed up, and then good pull counters. His hands are all right. He throws fast. He hits hard. When he gets you stationary, he can tee off and be dangerous, but he is a little sloppy with the hands. He'll reach, he'll miss with his punches, but very fast guy, getting better every fight with his technique, and he pushes the pace. He tries to stay in your face. You have to either pressure him or put him on the back foot to have the best chance of success. He can struggle versus fighters who move a lot too, which is going to be the case in this fight. But unless you have the ability to keep him honest with the power or stay moving consistently for 15 minutes, Roki will track you down. So your cardio has to be on point. He did lose a close decision to Dennis Aruju because he struggled to cut the cage off and land on him as Aruju was consistently sticking and moving. But Roki has a good chin. He took heaters from a heavy-hitting Hugo Paiva. He was able to just eat them. And he's also good at using head movement on the inside to avoid punches. He'll look like he's right there to be hit, but excellent vision, can get right out of the way. So he's probably a dangerous person to want to be in extended exchanges with. And he can mix in takedowns when he wants. He has a fast double leg. He's pretty physical. Okay takedown defense. You can put him on his back, though, and when he does get taken down, he will scramble effectively, and his conditioning is good, but I think a better wrestler grappler could maybe expose him on the ground. His power and just pressure, volume, speed have gotten him his wins for the most part. 7 knockout wins, 2 submissions, only 1 and 2 when the fights hit the scorecards. For Emmanuel Rodriguez, athletic kid, a lot of potential, very skilled, and just has to continue to gain experience. On the feet, he has great boxing. He's good at moving around on the outside, throwing hard body-head combinations. He's very accurate. He has good power. He's put out really durable fighters with one punch. He knocked out Albert Trujillo, who had never been knocked out and had fought multiple UFC veterans, had wins over guys like Edgar Chairez. So that was a really impressive knockout right there. And in this fight, he's going to have a fighter that's going to press him, give him openings, so he should be able to stick and move, maybe find the finish, but Rodriguez has to be careful of exchanging with a fellow Brazilian guy and just being dumb and reckless, and he has to just try to keep it on the feet. I think he hits hard, has much cleaner and sharper boxing, and he has to go first here, and whenever Junior gets in his range, let go with hard technical combinations. He has to land and then get back on the movement. He has to stay off the cage, try to avoid getting in just a brawl and making it ugly. I'm a bit worried about Rodriguez throwing a lot of hard shots, getting tired, and then Junior backing him up and making it a dogfight. But in that scenario, I still favor Rodriguez, even though I think that Roki is the hardest hitter that Rodriguez has ever fought. So that's something that we're going to have to learn about. But ultimately, I still think Rodriguez will find the better shots in those exchanges. And Rodriguez in his fight on The Ultimate Fighter, he did lose to Joseph Morales, but I thought he should have won the fight. He showed good ability to survive in round 1. Morales took his back, but Rodriguez reversed in a top position, was able to have some control very late in the round. But second round, I thought he did really well. I thought he won on the feet in that round. And then in the third round, he got a takedown. He got the back. He controlled from the back for the whole round. So I thought he won the fight. Second round was fairly close on the feet, but I would have given it to him. And I think that his wrestling and grappling looked impressive there because we saw Joseph Morales blitz through guys that are high level on the ground previously, and Rodriguez held his own there, got out of a bad position, took Morales' back and controlled him for nearly 5 minutes. And working with DC's team is only going to give him more skill there. I feel like he can out-grapple Roki if it gets hard on the feet. I'm not sure he could sub him, but I think he can control him from the back mount and not let him get back up. So both these fighters are flyweights. They have major power, but they've both shown they're defensively sound for the most part. They're durable. I think Rodriguez is better. It's just going to be if Roki can use his pressure experience to mog Rodriguez and break him. I think either Rodriguez gets the KO in the first or wins a hard-fought decision, though. So I'm going with Rodriguez. I'll say he wins 30-27. And next fight that we got on the card, we got a great matchup here between Adrian Martinetti and Mark Vologden. And Adrian Luna Martinetti is a 30-year-old Ecuadorian. He has a super impressive 16-1 record. And he's fought most of his fights in Mexico. He has fought in Ecuador and Peru as well. But this is his first time fighting in the U.S. And he's fought good competition. His early record is padded. Even his last couple wins aren't impressive. But he won the Ultimate Warrior Challenge Promotions belt in Mexico. He defended it 3 times, 14 wins in a row. And he's likely forgotten what it's like to lose. He hasn't lost since 2017. He's been dominant. He's finished 7 of his last 8 fights. For Mark Vologden, he is another one of these Russian fighters on the card. We're going to talk about another one in the main event. And he's a 25-year-old fighter who somehow found his way to Sweden. He trains at an All-Stars Training Center. He's 11-3-1. So at his age, he has experience. And he started off his career shaky. He had a draw. He had a loss. But then he won 5 in a row, and after that he lost 2 in a row. So he's 5-3-1 in his first 9 fights. Didn't really look the best, but since those 2 losses, he's ran off 7 straight wins, and he's the reigning defending AFN champion, All-Star Fight Night. So it's a bit suspect because he's competing in his own gym's promotion, but he's getting first-round finishes, and it isn't as if he's getting robbery decisions. He's not been fighting the stiffest competition, though, and definitely he fought harder guys when he was competing and more inconsistent in Russia. He's been getting kind of easy wins, trying to just get his experience and skill level up, but it's a complete clash of styles. Adrian Luna, he's a tall, long, and lanky grappler, uses a lot of kicks on the feet, he moves around, he waits for his moments to wrestle. Mark Vologden, shorter, more compact, and explosive guy, throws more power, but Adrian Luna Martinetti, 5'8", 71-inch reach, whereas Mark Vologden, 5'3", with a 65-inch reach. So he has a significant advantage there. And Adrian is a cerebral fighter. He likes to stay at the end of range, work kicks, throw heavy calf kicks. He has nice front kicks up the middle. Hands-wise, he doesn't really throw hands that much, but when he does, he's fairly technical. He will rip the body too, and they're fairly fast with his hands. And his recent win, one of them versus Giovanni Mazzaluna, just came out with a big flurry of straights, and it looked like since teaming up with the Performance Institute in Mexico, he's a little more confident in the hands, and he's solid on top. He's aggressive, good back takes, good at riding fighters. He'll just chip away with ground and pound too to eventually force their necks. He has good body locks and good timing on the doubles as well, so his wrestling is there. He also has no problem just staying in fighters' full guards, beating them up, and he's been looking confident and better than ever recently. He beat a fighter last year in Mamato Garcia in pretty dominant fashion. And Garcia, you look at his record, 13-11-1, so his record is ugly, but Garcia has good wins, and he was on a 9-4 stretch when he fought Luna. He has wins over Vicente Vargas, who's a very good fighter, Manuel Torres, who's in the UFC, 7-1 Jesus Ramos. He had a draw with Jose Alde, who fought in Contender Series. So Luna didn't completely outclass Garcia, but he pretty much did, and then got the finish in the third. So that was an impressive victory. He hasn't been that active lately. He did fight in March, but it was against a 0-0 fighter who came on last minute's notice. Outside of that fight, hasn't fought since August of last year. The last time that Luna really had a difficult fight, though, was February of 2024, because that fight in August was only 33 seconds. So we haven't seen much of Luna since he's teamed up with the UFC PI in Mexico, teamed up with Brandon Moreno and Entrim Gym, and we'll see how much his skill level has really leveled up if Vologden can push him. But Mark Vologden, he's a striker, karate background. You see it in how he fights too. He has a long and narrow stance. He's in and out. He uses a lot of kicks. He blitzes in super quick. He'll land nice 3-2s from either stance. He's shifty. He switches stance quite often. Good ability at just controlling range, getting his reads, picking his shots. you have to pressure him, man, because he is able to land off the back foot, and his speed is elite. But if you don't back him up, you're going to give him reads. You're going to give him the ability to start feinting in and out, working his kicks, backing you up, getting the timing, and then it's going to be really difficult to do much. And Vologden, he actually has gotten a lot more balanced with his punches and calm. He used to really wing his shots. Now he's not doing that as much. And he's a good striker, but he's fought stand-up fighters who hardly threw anything back at him recently. So although he's looked really good, it's kind of an asterisk there. I feel like he has decent counters, but they're all big actions. And if you keep the pressure on him, he will start to leave openings. His kicks are nasty, but I think that if you could put Vologden up against the fence, he can be taken down there, and you may be able to force him into making a mistake, like throwing a spin or a kick too close in range, giving the takedown. And at the same time, I mean, you could run into a shot, so it's dangerous, but I think that's the only way you could beat Vologden, pressuring him, making it ugly on the feet, and then trying to get the takedown. And Vologden did get out-wrestled in most of his losses. He's small for the weight, and his last loss, for instance, his opponent was able to pressure him to the fence, get him down pretty easily, and Vologden was getting really wild. He was overextending. He was giving up takedowns after he saw that he couldn't stop them. I think it changed his game plan up, made him really spastic, but he's explosive. So off his back early, he will scramble. Nice arm bar, but as he gets tired, he'll start to a set position more. Just look for low percentage submissions. And since the loss where he got controlled, he has put on some muscle. He looks stronger. In this fight, though, he's going to be significantly smaller, and I don't know if he's going to be able to compete if Luna gets on top of him, but his cardio is decent enough. I mean, he has a lot of heart. We haven't really seen him get extended recently, though. He hasn't gotten past the first since 2022, so maybe he'll have a better gas tank than he used to. But personally, I did not find his fight with Umid Agimarov to be a good look. He got controlled for the first 2 rounds, made a ton of mistakes. He didn't seem to have great defense against body locks. And his last fight, he did defend a couple takedowns, ended up getting his own double leg and then the finish. But I lean Luna here. I think that Vologden is good, but this may be a tough matchup. I think Luna's going to be aggressive right off the bat. He's going to use his size. He's going to get it inside. He's going to work Vologden to the ground against the fence. And even if Vologden is good defending initially, which I'm not sold he will be, I think he will wear down if Luna stays on him. Calf kicks at range, staying sharp defensively are the game for Luna on the feet. I think he can be effective with that. And if he can get on top, I think he may be able to find the back in the submission. Vologden did get submitted once in 2020. He hasn't been submitted since, so it should be hard to sub him, but it's possible. Luna's been with Brandon Moreno, Diego Lopez, Dom Cruz, and they've just been trying to mold these Mexican guys into beasts. So the one thing I didn't like as well about Vologden is you look on his IG, no one from All-Stars is really following him. Doesn't seem like he's training with the higher level guys at that gym, so it seems like he might be another body there. Whereas I think Adrian Luna has a lot of support from big name guys that want to get him in the UFC and are doing the right things to put him in that position. But finally, we got the marquee fight of the night. Lucas Caldas, he's taking on Magomed Zainikov. Amazing matchup here, man. I really love this fight. Caldas 6-1, 29-year-old Brazilian fighter. He's a Talis Ladies protege. But he isn't a jiu-jitsu guy like Talis, though. He's a brawler. He comes in looking to put you out cold. He has finished all 6 of his wins with strikes within the first 2 rounds, 5 in round 1. His one loss was really a win. He was beating the brakes off his opponent for the entire fight, but got DQ'd for illegal stomps to a downed opponent. But this is a significant step up in competition for Caldas, though. And he's fought lower level Brazilians for the most part so far, but His opponent, Magomed Zainikov, he's a two-time Muay Thai champion. He is someone that teamed up with Team Habib now since he's gotten more like into his MMA career. And he actually was with Abdulmanap previously, I believe, like a long time ago before he went to Muay Thai before MMA. So he's been training MMA. He just hasn't been fighting MMA the whole time in his fight career. And he's 30, so these guys are pretty similar age. Zainikov's a little taller, but he has a short reach. I think that Caldas is going to be longer. But you look at their style, Caldas is a brawler, looks to cut the cage off, make it a pocket fight. He'll switch stances. His boxing offense is on point. He'll use his lead hand to feint or jab his way into the big right. Nice 1-2 switch stance hooks. He doesn't move his head much, and he can run into punches, but good false starts, good in and out movement. Once he starts to get the read of the fight, he gets a little better, and his hands and combinations are just fast and accurate. He's been hurt and come back to win in multiple fights, and he can build into fights, and he tends to get a lot of late round finishes. He finished the fight with 14 seconds remaining in the first round. He has another fight where he finished with 1 second left in the first round. And the fight where he got DQ'd, he was basically in a finishing sequence and got through those illegal stomps with 19 seconds left in round 2. So his pressure can build over rounds, and he can take you out later in the round. His takedown defense is a little suspect, and he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu without a ton of grappling experience. But a blue belt from Tas Leites means you're probably fairly proficient defensively, and he's gotten up quickly when he's been taken down. In this fight, Zainikov, I have seen him wrestle previously, so I'm a little worried about that, but he's primarily a striker. He likes to stay at the edge of range. Zainikov, move, look for pull counters. Zainikov has a good check hook, nice right cross, overhand, good elbows, all right kicks on the outside, and he's sharp. His opponents definitely have to be very careful closing the distance, and Caldas will give him openings to counter, but Zainikov's always backing up. He will put himself on the fence, and I kind of question his cardio. He definitely slows down, and I think this match is going to come down to if Zainikov can knock out Caldas early with something sweet or cut angles, land leg kicks, keep his back off the fence more than in previous fights, and try to land elbows, big shots, try to stop the forward pressure, because his wrestling isn't really there from what I've seen. I think Caldas, if anything, should try to maybe mix in takedowns against the fence, just make Zainikov work. I think both these guys are decent, but they have flaws. Caldas, he's the better cardio guy to me, even though he doesn't have many long fights, but he's going to be marching down Zainikov, trying to get him along the fence, go body, go head, overwhelm him with boxing. Zainikov's going to be going backwards, looking to use the footwork, cut angles, try to work low kicks, counters, slow the pace. If he can't get the KO early, I think it really could go either way, though. If Zainikov can land and hurt Caldas and then control the pace, he could win a decision. But I think that if he can't get it done early, Caldas' pressure and offense easily can break Zainikov. Zainikov has won decisions against decent fighters lately, but I think the way Caldas forces exchanges in boxing range is going to lead to a finish either way. So I'm going to go with the underdog, though. I'm going to go with Caldas. Late round 1, round 2 knockout. I think he's going to eat leg kicks, some big shots, but hopefully he can walk through the fire. He should land in boxing range. I think the body shots are going to be the beginning of the end for Zainikov, and I like that this is in a small cage. Zainikov's very slick, so anything could happen, but Caldas is just a wild man. I'm going to take the younger, the bigger guy. I think he could back up Zainikov, make it more of a brawl, make it more a boxing type of fight, get the better of it, and melt Zainikov. So huge upset in the final fight on this fight card will happen. Lucas Caldas will knock out Zainikov in round 2. So there you have it, guys. That's full card breakdown and predictions for Contender Series Week 9. My most confident pick on the card is Fernandez inside the distance, I guess. But I think Rodriguez should win. I like Luna as the dog. And then obviously Caldas, I think he's going to get the job done. So that's a big underdog. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay locked into the channel. I'll be back with more content. Hit the like button. Would really appreciate some likes on this video. I know it's late, but go to Patreon if you want bets. I got bets on this card. And outside of that, guys, peace out.